I know you got a last question. I understand Mr. Orr might say a little bit. We have a proof from Switzerland.
Oh.
Who would like to ask you?
Bonjour, ça va bien?
Oh, well, is it translation, please?
Hello, everything going well?
Yeah. So they're in line, and
why don't you just ask your question?
Oh, yeah, while they set up. I wanted to do a couple of the social media questions that came in because a lot of them did deal with the pension issue. Deborah Goolsby Walters says, as the widow of a retiree, I depend on the pension that I get. How do I live without it? Shar wrote, how will I be able to afford health insurance with the $125 stipend added to the $240 we already pay? What do you tell people? I will tell you one man that threw me for a loop that I interviewed outside of federal court.
Right.
A retired police officer who had been in a horrific shootout. His partner was killed. Dozens of bullets in the tree that he was standing behind. Kid next door killed. It was horrific. He said he earned his damn pension. Why can't he get it?
Vicki, this is probably one of the most troubling aspects about a municipal reorganization that you typically don't have with a corporate reorganization, is the human cost. And what I would say to him, first of all, is, you know, I'm sorry. I didn't do this. I've never borrowed a dollar from the pension fund. I've never been one to manage or inaccurately manage your fund. You know, in GRS, for instance, 30% of their investments were in private equity, real estate, and direct investment. I mean, the city has owned defunct hotels. We own part of a corporate jet. Okay, somebody made those decisions. And frankly, if you want true transparency about what went on, those funds should publish who borrowed what, when they borrowed it, how much has been paid back, how much has been forgiven, how much has been converted to equity. Let's have a true discussion about how we got here with the funds. But let's put that aside for a moment. Okay? The situation with the pensions existed long before I got here, and the reality is that we don't adjust it. The entire pensions, specifically GRS, they will probably go broke if they keep paying out pensions at the rate that they're paying now within the next 10 years. Okay? It's actually a little worse. The numbers that we published in our June 14th presentation were based upon 2012 numbers provided by the pension's usual actuary, Gabriel Roeder. It has now been approximately almost a year and a half from those funds were published, but the pensions have continued to pay out in the ordinary course as they did before. Furthermore, this is a little bit dense and somewhat technical to pensioners, but the pension funds report their value of their assets at an actuarial rate that is smoothed over 7 years. That means whatever the obligations are. Let's say you have a huge obligation this year, but a small one in 2 years, they average that out over a year. So the blended value of the actual obligation that you have is lowered, but nonetheless you have a huge obligation this year. If you look at the market value of the assets in those funds, they're significantly lower. So let me set the table with that. That's all stuff that occurred before I got here. That's conditions of the funds as we find them. I'm just trying to speak truth to power as they are. I know that's not small comfort for someone who's petrified that they're going to lose their situation. And I got this question in the trial, and what I was trying to say is, look, I recognize that people expect that they earn their pensions, that these are protected, but the reality is the administration of these pensions over many years has been inappropriate. In some cases, PFRS, police and fire, is a little bit better than GRS, but it's very troubling, and that's just the way it is. Now, what we're talking about. Well, I'm trying. You know, I've tried very hard to stay away from blaming and pointing fingers and attacking, but you know, people look at me. I'm just the bearer of the news. Okay, somebody else made the news. They took the efforts. But that being said, what we're really talking about is the unfunded portion of the pensions. There will be pensions of the kind. If we address this now, if we don't address it, there won't be pensions in 10 years. So the 60, 70, and 80-year-old retirees are essentially getting your pensions at the expense of the 30, 40, and 50-year-old workers. Okay, that's not fair, because you're going to deplete the assets of the pension fund. So we have to adjust them and adjust the potential benefit in some fashion. And that's unfortunate, and it's a real hardship. But we don't have a choice. The city has been paying into the funds, and there's a cost of hundreds of millions of dollars the city did not pay. Last year, fiscal year 2013, we deferred on a $131 million obligation. We deferred $100 million of it. We did not pay. If you use a 10% cap rate, $100 million is the equivalent of $1 billion over the next 10 years. That's what happened since I was appointed. in March by the end of June 2013. So these are significant numbers. So we have to adjust it so that there are pensions for everyone, including the current retirees as well as the current workers. Otherwise, we victimize the younger workers at the expense of the current retirees, and those pensions go away. The second thing we have to do, and we're thinking about with regard to health care, there are roughly 28,000, 30,000 people who receive health care for the city. 10,093.71 active duty employees, and about 18,000 specified beneficiaries who are retirees. We're providing health care for our active duty employees. We're going from what's classified as a platinum plan in BCPS, and maybe from 23 to maybe 14 providers. But active duty employees are going to a gold plan. I don't think anybody can really dispute that you're no longer going to have platinum, you're going to get gold. We're not taking it silver, we're not taking it bronze, we're providing with a gold plan. So let's take out 10,000 people, 93.71. Of the 18,000 that are left, 11,000 of those people are, cute little guy, 11,000 of those people are qualified for Medicare and Medicaid. And we're going to give them Medicare and Medicaid Plus, which is an enhancement. Other municipalities have done this, but when you're broke, you really don't have a choice of trying to provide platinum care for retirees. The biggest concern is of the 7,000 retirees, many of whom are uniform. And we want to provide them because they're not Medicare and Medicaid eligible. That's why we've tried to give them a bigger stipend and to go into exchanges. We recognize that the healthcare exchanges under the Affordable Care Act, people call it Obamacare, are having problems. So we decided to extend the open enrollment period for all employees, even those who are getting health care, all retirees, even those who are getting health care, but principally focus on the 7,000 who are having trouble figuring out what to do on the exchanges, although I now understand some 400,000 to 500,000 people have actually got on them. That's going to cost the city. It costs us $190,000 a year in healthcare spend. That's just almost $200 million. That's going to cost the city somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 to $30 million to do that of our discretion. So it's a high lift just for the retire, but we think it's the right thing to do until they get the exchanges straightened out and people have health care. But we're very sensitive to the need for health care.
Jamie?